Hi, I wanted to share with you a few things. First, I wanted to share this idea of the alignment of the soul and then the oscillation of the mind and body around the soul, and how it can be really distant from the soul or close. The oscillation of that is important. I want to show you how to get that back in alignment if possible. I also wanted to share the concepts of contradiction and the point of maximum tension, where we are living in contradiction to our soul. And then I also wanted to share how gratitude relates, because we're stepping into Thanksgiving tomorrow, and I thought that this was timely, especially because I woke up with it, and I was like, okay, I got to share this. So the idea, if you could just picture in your mind this straight line, and that would be the soul, and your physical body and educated mind are oscillating around that throughout life. The degree to which we deviate from the soul is how much in contradiction we are to fulfillment and gratitude and being able to live in this state of bliss. When we have one arm pulling this way, let's say that that's a speedboat, that's your soul saying, I want to go this way, but your educated mind and your body, physical body, are in contradiction to that. They're going a different direction. We have the point of maximum tension. That's where we live in contradiction to ourselves, and we are stagnant and stuck. And sometimes you would see that with a symptomatic expression. People have health issues, or we see that when they're stuck and plateaued in their life, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, stuck. That is the concept where if you can align, and this is what I've learned from myself and seen in others, if you can align both the spirit, the soul, and the educated mind, and you get them on the same track, not in contradiction, it's like two speedboats pulling you in the same direction, that's where abundance is. And so to understand this concept, I've learned that if I am in contradiction, I am stagnant and I am suffering. Suffering, by the way, is optional. Pain is inevitable. We will all go through it. But staying in that mess is optional if you could just apply the concept of delayed gratification. And so an example of that would be reaping what you sow. Initially, it's painful. So going into pain initially, it just feels wrong if you've been stuck in this concept of immediate gratification. So what I welcome you to do, for myself included, stay in a lane where you are no longer seeking an infatuated feeling, something that makes you feel good immediately, and try to go for long-term fulfillment and feeling good because of the garden that you sowed, right? The reaping of the fruit, the vegetables, and everything later, that is the long-term benefit from the pain you committed to in the beginning. And so how does that relate with this concept of this soul and this oscillation of the physical body and the educated mind around that? Well, we have an innate mind. In chiropractic college, we learned about the infinite wisdom that created us, and that innate mind is all-knowing, if you will. And then if we deviate from that because we're in contradiction to that, because we seek immediate gratification or we seek some type of feeling that we want to feel now because we don't want to feel pain, then we have contradicted ourselves. We also have missed out on the abstract message that comes from that wisdom. So we have this infinite wisdom that created us. It's also wishing to speak with us, and it does it in an abstract form. And if you never sit in that pain, you'll never be blessed with the idea that there's something from inside guiding us. And in that pain is the message. And so we in our culture have, in our finite minds, gotten ourselves in a conundrum where we escape pain. We escape discomfort, and we are not supposed to feel that. And what I learned after years of existing in a world where we do that is, no, actually sitting in the mess is where we're gonna find our biggest answers, our epiphanies. And if you are able to do that, that's a big deal, because that will bring you further and further closer towards alignment. And that's where we remove the contradiction. Now, in a state of gratitude, which is something that I'm interested in sharing right now, you can further sit, not just in the mess, but sit in a state of gratitude where you are grateful for the alignment. That's where bliss is, that's where joy is, and that's fulfillment. That's when you're not missing anything and not in fear. By the way, living in fear brings you further and further from alignment. The distraction, by the way, traction or train tracks or alignment, that is where we want to be. Distraction is when we are trying to be distracted from alignment. And that is the satisfaction, immediate gratification. It's the satisfaction of the senses. And when we live there, we are contradicting ourselves. So again, bringing ourselves back to alignment is a very important concept, but it takes going through pain. And sometimes if you have unread mail, that's a lot of pain because we haven't sat and listened to it. We haven't sat in the mess. Now, the alignment of the soul and mind takes time. It's not something that you can do overnight. It is a dedication. It is a discipline. And I have been doing that now for quite a while. Been through enough things that I'm like, okay, I'm done with this contradiction. I'm going to start doing things that help align my mind and body and soul. And you will see rewards from that, and you get more and more oscillations with the truth where you can see more abundant manifestations and things that happen in your life that are congruent. And that is a real thing. You don't know that until you actually live there. And your soul, your innate wisdom that's continually keeping you in existence, it will constantly remind you that that exists and to bring you back home. How? Through pain and through suffering if necessary. Suffering is just unread mail. You're just not knowing how to get that and extract from that wisdom the answer. So when I sit in gratitude in the morning, being grateful, being thankful for where I'm at, I'm trying to find places in time where I was actually in joy and bliss, and currently where that's also oscillating, and seeing how those things are fulfilling. And when I do that, my body can get to a point where it's vibrating and feeling fulfilled and right. And the more I do that every day, the more I'm getting my body and mind aligned, the more I actually attract into my life health, well-being, joy, things that are good for you. And when I'm not doing that and I tend to get into fear or something's wrong or something's missing, the more I attract that. And so it is a discipline and it is something worthwhile because you can literally change the programs in your brain on how to do that daily and even have it become a habit. So in this day and time of being grateful and being thankful, I wish for everybody to do one of the most important adjustments that you'll ever do, the one above C1, which is align your mind and body and soul with this thing that is much bigger than all of us. And most importantly, please don't forget why you're here. Because when we get caught up in living in that oscillation outside of the alignment of our soul, we tend to forget that we're here for a reason because we're so caught up in the infatuation with our senses that we're not allowing ourselves to express the life that we're here for. And when you get back to alignment, which is why I got tears a little bit and choked up, is because anytime I get back to the essence or the most important part of life, it does that to me. So I guess I'm in a place where I'm understanding that, yeah, when I'm further and further away or closer and closer to alignment, I am going to deviate from the tears or I'm going to attract them. And I just have to accept the fact that when I say something that really has meaning, it tends to attract them. And I want you to see that this is probably one of the most important things that I've experienced in my life is the alignment of my mind, body, and soul. And I wish for you to have that. So have a happy Thanksgiving and do yourself a favor, your friends, family, and the world a favor. Don't forget why you're here. Align your mind, body, and soul. And don't hide your gift.